Goals. This was a feature I think a lot of us remember in Google Calendar where you could literally make your calendar extremely useful for your life, organizing. And it was really a planner that was about your life and your health. And I think that is where Structured Daily Planner app was actually inspired. It could have been inspired for its productivity and just its health focus goals and everything. And so I was having a conversation with Grok actually about this because a lot of my friends and I have other things that we focus on when it comes to things like business, things like just our lives, how we're doing, work, all that kind of stuff. And we talk about different like coffee drinks and recipes. We talk about the device preference we have for our phones and things like this. We get pretty nerdy about a lot of things, but my productivity planner nerdiness just is overloaded. Like, it really can't be beat. And it probably could with some of you out there, but I'm really excited that Grok was telling me about a lot more useful ways. And I'm also excited to find a useful feature in Apple Notes that can integrate into Google Calendar. But I'm going to go over the reason why I'm considering it and why I'll probably show you some of this in the next couple of years as I kind of really move on. Right now I'm taking personal time to really hone in on my planner and self-care and all that good stuff. But as far as accessibility and how quick it is to add events, I've shown you guys already. So I don't know how much I'd show you as far as my own private one, but I can at least make a calendar in another account I have for creating and Life is Not Reality and that kind of thing that really wouldn't be too personal, with real events that I use for just Life is Not Reality overall in a very focused way, even though I integrate Life is Not Reality into my life as another kind of calendar category. Using my own Life is Not Reality account, I could probably demonstrate some stuff for you guys a little better because I had fun and practiced doing that in Structured Planner. And I think a lot of you guys got a lot out of it. But I want to know what is going to really work for quite a long time and all of that. And Reminders has some really cool features, and I don't want to sort of deny that. But one thing with Apple Notes that allows me to continue to use transcription and integrate into other apps is when you go into your transcription file, when you go to play the audio or read the transcription in the same sort of window in your app on your iPhone, you have a copy transcription button, save audio to files, or share audio, which will give you the other apps option for audio. But at least it's being very upfront as far as your transcription options, and you don't even have to use the editing features to do the work of selecting, copying, and pasting into other apps with all those steps as much, because you can automatically go in, hit this copy transcription button, and I can then put it into a Google Calendar event, save the audio to files and integrate it, or save it to Google Drive and integrate it back into the event with the audio and the transcript as well. I can integrate video into my calendar just as I can in Apple Notes. Apple Notes does have a video integration that I also forgot to mention because it's just cool. You can take and record video, you can take and record audio, you can take and add photos, all of that kind of stuff. So Apple Notes is still a pretty hardcore choice for me, but there's another side of my family that uses Google Calendar to integrate things and as a part of life. So I feel like by doing this, it's helping me connect better and integrate even more with family. But one of the things that Google Calendar can do, if you've been missing Google Calendar goals, Google Calendar Goals, for those of you who don't know, is this awesome feature that really has made you interested in your health. I love a planner vibe that gets you interested in your health. I don't care if it's an app, I don't care if it's a pen and notebook, if it has some health integrations, if it has some health pages, if it has some health tracking to it. To me, that's probably why I integrated so much more into it in the past. So what it would do is it would log and give you things you might want to do. If you want to walk more, I definitely walked a lot and integrated it with goals in Google Calendar. Swimming, for sure, I integrated. And all these other goals when it came to family, doing things, family activities, things like that. Google Fit can help you log goals for health as well, like hydration, walks, even things like steps. And it does work on iPhone, from what I can tell. Another integration that I can use for more work and project and kind of creative and business is Google Sheets integration with Google Calendar. That's pretty cool to learn. Google Forms as well, if I want to do some web kind of integration that way. Google Tasks has always been a part of my planner with Google Calendar because I can integrate so heavily into notes, links, emails, lists, and integrate it right into the calendar. I can add it to the calendar quickly through the calendar and only use the separate app if I want to go deep into organizing the tasks themselves, but not force into using a separate reminders app as much, because it all organizes into the calendar if you want it to, or you can have it completely separate as a separate app. And I'm really not using sounds as much as I was, but they're still there as to know that your calendar is going off. Emojis has gotten so good with iOS, though, that I have my imagery, my imagination, my visualization that I really love. So that takes care of that. But the other feature that I'll probably put the video. Well, actually, I have the video on this channel already. It is, if you want to browse back, you can find Google Calendar accessibility if you are using VoiceOver and want a shortcut to adding to your Google Calendar. It also, one of the other reasons that got me back into it a couple years ago, I think back in 2022, 2023, was the maybe early 2024, but I believe it was 23. The lock screen integration. It looks beautiful on the lock screen. It's very quick to open. It's a lot lighter than Apple Calendar on the lock screen, to be honest with you, and faster. So, really cool. I can use it on the computer. I can sync it up to any Android phone that we have, or if I had to get a new Android phone for any reason, if iPhone just sort of became broke or lost. I don't think that's going to happen, but in that event, I would have everything that I need in my calendar, in life. Any of the Apple Notes I can kind of integrate into the calendar heavily so that I wouldn't lose anything, and into the Google system. And I use Gmail so heavily that it makes sense to integrate with Google Tasks, integrating with Google Calendar. Just because of the fact that I use Gmail so heavily, I hardly use Apple Mail unless I'm doing a really deep organizing thing. Even the search in Gmail works better nowadays. It used to work better in Apple Mail, so I had to use it. Nowadays it works better. Unless I'm using other different accounts, which you can integrate into Gmail. So I don't even need it for that. But this is what's really cool, is that with Apple and Google working together, I can kind of switch back and forth as I need to. I'm no longer making apps the central part of my teaching with you always, unless there's really an important feature. I'm no longer making this the central part of my discussions, because I realize that everything that I've been teaching you about organizing and coffee tables nearby your door and having your bags for organization. I have a ton of bags for organization. I'm definitely a purse collector, a bag collector, and it helps to have a different purse or bag for different, not only really occasions, but purposes. One for an office vibe, one for kind of a self-care vibe, and one for kind of an everything, like an all-in-one vibe to just go out. And then one for an on-the-go sporty vibe. So that's small, that's easy to just grab things I need immediately. So it's just over the years I've collected purses. It's not like I bought all of them at once, and it's not like I even buy $1,000 purses or purses that are a few hundred. I don't do any of that, but I love purses for practical, useful, custom design use. And same with any of the apps that I use. But apps change so much, and we all tend to sort of go with what we need at that time. So I really don't want to make apps the central part of what I'm teaching anymore. I'm not really a productivity app guru, but I love my productivity app gurus. I love watching and learning and all of that. But I'm so tied into Apple and Google that I don't have the time anymore to invest in the apps and the learning curve. But I love seeing what's new in the apps that I have invested in, and any new concepts or apps that are coming out, I'd love. But I want to focus more on like getting our shit together in productivity, kind of like raw, sort of the unfiltered look at life. So that's probably why Structured was the only third party I was really willing to demonstrate, because I took it pretty seriously. Aside everything else, along with Apple and Google apps, and aside from my lack of interest in becoming only known for productivity, that's not what I want anyway. A lot of this is life design and putting life together. And I'm not doing this, if you'll notice, I'm not doing this to purposefully calendar block the way that other people do. I'm more like tracking in the calendar, and then a little bit of routine doesn't hurt within the calendar. Some day theming, some time batching, which is batching tasks together throughout your day, batching, having a big event that gives you a name for your day, what kind of day you're having, or what kind of morning you're having with tasks underneath that event, or smaller timed events underneath a 2-hour block with maybe some 10 or 20 minute events underneath. For example, that's time batching in a nutshell. I do more of the day theming time batching. So I do manage my time a little more than you would think, and a little more than I thought personally, because I'm finding that all my sections and reminders are kind of like, it's there, but I would have to uncheck and recheck and everything. It's not really recurring as much because I don't want to manage time too much. And so day theming with Google Calendar, having it on the lock screen, is going to work. And tracking the goals and the fitness and all of that is going to help with quality of life. Tracking, that's where I see this. The quality of life, work, business, all of that. It's not about calendar blocking just to micromanage. That's the key. It's really about upping my quality of life the way that I did when goals in Google Calendar really helped me to get motivated about my health. It really helped me to better my health. I learned how to understand the importance of consistent swimming every day, even though some days were colder than others, even though some days I was in a different mood and I was more in a focused mood, or I had less energy, maybe less focus. I still started to learn the consistent of swimming, where goals would then tell me an outcome of like, you swam this much. And it's just kind of one of those things that helps you to understand the importance of taking care of yourself when you're getting into health more. So I'm doing a lot more walking in the morning outside. I'm doing a lot more active chores and cleaning that could fit into my workouts instead of trying to separate everything so much, but then also having personal separate workouts for myself throughout the week, and especially when it comes to mindful fitness and wanting to get more serious about yoga and all of that kind of stuff. I did that better, whether it was gym, whether it was home, whether it was out in the yard doing fitness. I did all of that a little better when I had Google Calendar to help keep me accountable and track and everything else. So that's kind of me. Just wanted to update you on what was going on, because I do tend to get obsessive about these things. I'm sure you do too. And especially if you're watching this, I'm sure you do. So I figured I would let you know what's really going on here with all of this, just because it gets us all thinking. And there's different apps that you can connect to Google Calendar that will help integrate your life in different ways, whether it's Apple, Google, or other things. I'm not focused on the planner apps that are trying to connect your Google Calendar into their planner. I'm interested in the health tracking, work tracking, things like that. A lot of that is going to come from Google and some from Apple, so that's fine. And then a lot of it's going to come from just having my Apple Notes copy pasted into Google Calendar and syncing up with my entire family, not just part of my family. Apple Notes is a part of that family that's been met, but the other part of the family needs to be met with Google Calendar. So it's a good balance, it's practical, and it works. So I hope that this helps you to reflect. This is how fast our mind can change when we really start to look at what's practical and what we've been doing consistently. So I hope that this helps you to reframe if you want to reintegrate some kind of goal system. I am still learning how to do this myself. It's not something I know, but I wanted to inform you of it right away, because goals was something a lot of us loved. And so with Google Fit, you can, use your Google account and explore. And if you find anything interesting, let me know. But this should help us get back into our goals with Google Calendar that maybe we've missed over the last few years. So I hope that this helps our life. And take care of yourself, take care of your life, take care of each other. And let's stay connected and focused on what matters.